Hi everyone, I'm Sarah, the owner of Sarah's Cake Company, and today we are cake decorating. So I'm going to show you how to buttercream your cake and get super smooth edges, and also how to create extra decorations such as cake lollies, marbled strawberries and other special additions. Hi, so we're going to start with the lollies. So at this stage you'll have your mould. You can get these in varied different designs. I'm using one that's a bit more like a twister lolly. So I've melted my candy melts or deco melts. These go in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time until melted and smooth. So you just pop in a spoonful to the mould. I like to do these one at a time because it does set quite quickly. And you want to just go up all the edges and make sure it's all covered. You can use a paintbrush. I'm just using a little spoon. And you can also just shake it around and make sure each area is filled. Okay, I'm just going to fill another one. These set really quickly, so you want to work as quickly as possible. And when you put them in the fridge, they almost set instantly. Just shake these again. Okay, I'm pretty happy with those. So I'm just going to pop them in the fridge. And then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so next I've got my mini chocolate moulds. I'm going to use the same chocolate I've just used for the lollies and literally just drop in a tiny amount to however many you want to make. You may want to make the whole sheet. I'm just going to do 3. You just want to use the back of your spoon to fill them. Make sure they're all even. And then grab your spatula and just remove the excess. And that is then ready to go in the fridge. So now we're going to make the filling for the lollies, and with this I use leftover cake that may have been used for a special shaped cake, or just if you've got any sponge laying around. So I like to wear gloves for this part, and I've got a small amount of sponge in here which I'm just going to crumble up. Again, you can use any amount. If you're making a lot of lollies, then you would use more. I'm only making a few, so I only need a small amount. I would say this is probably roughly 2 cupcakes worth of sponge. So that is nice and crumbly. Next, I'm going to add in a tablespoon of buttercream. Just a little bit more. And then if you need more, you can add more. And then I just mix this with my hands as I've got gloves on. And you'll just start to see it come together, and then you can get your spatula and it will just bind together nicely. And that is your cake dough ready to go in the lollies. It's basically a pre-mixed cake. You've got your sponge and your buttercream in one. So I'm now going to grab the lollies out the fridge and we're just going to fill them. Okay, so these are nice and set now. They only take around 5 minutes. So by the time you've made your cake filling mix, they're pretty much set. So grab your acrylic lollies. You can also use wooden. I've got green acrylic ones here. And you're just going to poke them through the mould. The only thing is this can just break the little bit off the back, but that's fine. You're going to fill that back in anyway. And then same for the next one. That one was much easier. Okay, so they're ready. Now I'm just going to grab some filling. You only need a small amount. Obviously you can judge this by how big your lolly moulds are. You want to just press it in. Right, they are now perfectly filled, and I'm just going to top the back with the rest of the melted candy melts or deco melts. And again, you just want to work really quickly on this part. So I'm just now smoothing over the back using my spatula. And this just seals in that sponge. And then they go in the fridge to set, and again they don't take long, but you can leave them in there as long as you need. I'm going to only leave them in there for around 15 minutes. So the next stage of my cake decorating is the strawberries, and today I'm going to show you how to marble strawberries, which is really exciting. So here I've melted some white chocolate, which is nice and smooth. And then I've also melted a small amount of white chocolate in this bowl, which I'm going to colour a different colour. So today I'm using pink. I'm just going to add that in now. So I'm just going to use a small amount. It's always best when adding colouring to add a little bit at a time. It gives you more control of the colour that you're after. So I want it to be quite stand out. And you can see that's got a really nice pink now. Perfect. And I'm also going to add some white to my white chocolate, just to give it a bit of a nicer colour than the yellow. And you can see that just brightens it up slightly. Just going to add a little bit more. Okay, so my strawberries are nice and washed and clean and dry. Make sure you dry them off. And now you want to just, you can put it in a piping bag, but I actually find it easier to just drizzle how much pink you would like to use. So you're literally going to pour this in a moving motion, just lines through your white chocolate. Now it's going to be a little hard for me to show you this because I don't want to move it, but I've just got lines going vertically and horizontally. And I'm just going to grab one of my strawberries, lift up all the leaves, try not to tear them off and just hold it as gently as you can. And then you just want to literally dip your strawberry in and swirl. You may have to do this in all directions. And then if you just twist as you come up, you will have a marbled effect. Just let any excess come off. And then add more of your pink, or whichever colour you've gone for. And then the same again, you want to just swirl it all around. And always repeat your pink colouring or whichever colour you're going to add. I've still got quite a bit in there, so I'm not going to add any more at this point. But it should still give me the marble effect that I'm after. And then last one, grab all the leaves. Okay. And then you just want to pop them in the fridge and let them set, and then we will come back to them when I go to decorate the cake. Okay, so I've got my ganache cake and I've got my buttercream that we've already prepped, which is in my other tutorial, so you can find out how I made that there. But I'm just going to colour it with, I'm using lavender. So I'm just going to add a small amount of that now. It's really good to do this by hand because it knocks out all the air, which makes your buttercream really smooth. Okay, so my buttercream is now nice and mixed and at the colour I would like. So I'm now going to fill my piping bag. I put it in a cone shape, so I've got like hold of the bottom and it all comes down the sides, and then I can firmly press my spatula in so I've got full control of where the buttercream is going. Right. And then tighten the top. I like to twist it a few times. And then you just want to cut around 1.5 centimetres off the bottom. And then if you get your ganached cake, you want to just evenly pipe around the whole cake. So I just start and I use the table to turn. And you can do this one by one, so that's one layer. And then you can get all the way up. And then you know you're piping quite evenly. You can just keep going. You don't have to do this stage by using a piping bag. You can just use your spatula to smooth it on like we did with the ganache. But this can make it a lot more neater and give you a neater layer. So with the top, you want to just put all the excess up there. And I'm just going to take whatever I've got left in the bowl and blob that on the top as well. Then you want to just grab your spatula and start with the top. Same as with the ganache, you want to just use your spatula to push the buttercream to the edges without scooping anything up. And then when you feel like it's quite level, you want to just hold it at a sort of a 90-degree angle and use the table to turn and just lift off gently. And now you're going to grab your straight edge smoother. These are my Sarah's Cake Company ones that you can purchase at my website. And you want to just hold it as straight and level to the board as you can. And again, you're not dragging the icing, you're literally just smoothing it over, turning the table all the time. And then you'll start to see where you need to sort of refill in. So I like to keep going for a little while and make sure it's quite smooth. So I'm quite happy with that. And now I'm just going to go back over the gaps. And take the excess off of your smoother. And then same again, you want to just, I like to place it flat on the board so you're not going in or out, you're literally straight. Apply a nice even pressure around the whole cake and then just slowly turn. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that so far, but I am still going to do another final smooth. Which I'm going to apply some heat on that. So I'm just going to get the kettle, pour that down the side of my smoother, which will make it warm, and that will just make the buttercream go really smooth. Okay, so my smoother has been warmed up. And I'm just going to do a final smooth. And you'll see now that that is pretty seamless and nice and straight. And then that's just going to go in the fridge. You can also just use the bottom edge of your smoother, just to grab off the excess off the board. Just as long as you don't dig into your cake. And yeah, then I will show you how to neaten the top once it is set in the fridge, which will take around a minimum of around 15-20 minutes, but the longer the better. Okay, so my lollies have been setting in the fridge nicely, and now you just want to pull the mould away very gently and just let the lollies peel away. And then as you get to the bottom, you want to just literally push the stick through. Careful of the other one that's in the mould as well. And there you should have your lolly. So I'm just going to pop that there. If you have any excess bits around the edges, they will literally just come off because they are so thin. So that's that one. Just going to do the next one. Just want to push that out of there. Like so. And then this one you can see has actually got some of the chocolate around the edge, so you just want to break that off. I mean, it's a really tiny amount, so it's fine. And there we go. And then we also have the chocolate moulds that we made. So again, these are super easy, a lot easier than the lollies. You just want to pop them out. And there we have our mini chocolates, which looks super cute. And now I'm just going to show you how you can jazz up your lollies. I've got these really cute ribbons, so I need 2. They have already a pre-sticker on them, and you just literally pull that off, stick it on, and that is my lolly prepped. So that is ready to go on the cake. I mean, you could also do some decorations on the lollies. I think for today I like them quite plain. So yeah, I'm going to leave them like that. That one doesn't have one. Okay, so my cake is nice and chilled. This has been chilling in the fridge for around 15 minutes. So I'm just going to grab my knife, and you want to just really gently go in the top and just let the table turn and take off the smallest amount, and this will just level off the top. Just grab some tissue and make sure you clean your knife every time so that you're not dragging any extra buttercream on. And just work in small sections. You don't want to take off too much or break the top edge of your cake. And that'll just give you a really neat edge. Like so. If I was to leave this top plain, I would warm up my spatula with some boiling water and just smooth the top edge, but I'm actually going to cover mine with chocolate, so we don't need to do that. So here I've melted my white chocolate and I've coloured it lavender to match the cake. So with this technique, I'm going to show you what I would usually do, but I'm also going to show you 2 options of how you want to do it. So you want to just grab your spoon. I hold it over the top middle of the cake, so you're not going to get it anywhere. And then you want to just drizzle it near the edge, not right to the edge, and then use your spoon to let it drag over. And this will just give you full control of where the drip is going to go and how much you want to let over the edge. Like that. And then I like to just thin it out a bit and drag it into the middle. I'm just going to repeat the process. And then drag the excess back, like that. And they all look pretty neat, and they will just stop to where they want, so don't over push off the edge because they will keep running until the white chocolate sets. So if you only want a few little drips off the top, then just a light push over the edge. But I'm also going to show you how to do this in a piping bag. Now I've only got a little bit left, so we'll just see what I can do. So scoop all your white chocolate into the bag. You can place your bag over a cup, and then you can get as much chocolate out of the bowl as you need. I do this all the time, so it's quite easy. And then you literally want to take the tiniest bit off the edge of your piping bag, as this will again give you more control. And if you need to snip off a little bit more, then you can, whereas if you snip too much, then you lose control. So you want to go right to the edge on this technique and just keep applying pressure to your bag and keep turning the table and just let the drips fall off the edge. Ooh. I'll just turn this side round so you can see. And then any excess you may have, just squeeze that onto the top. Go back and use your spoon just to bring the excess in. Like so. I prefer working with a spoon. Some people prefer a piping bag, so it's just whatever technique you prefer. But that is it. And then I'm just going to show you how to cover the rest of the cake using our decorations. Okay, so my drips are nice and set. Now I've put some more purple buttercream in my piping bag, and I've just put in I'm just going to see what nozzle I've used. It's a 6B nozzle. So I'm going to do like a rope effect across the top, where you just want to apply pressure using a motion and then keep the pressure even the whole way around. So I'm going to find your starting point, and I normally choose the back. So I'm going to start here, and so I'm just lightly turning the table as I go, and then you just want to push all your buttercream down to the bottom and then carry on where you left off. So I'm just doing small circle motions. And then you would normally refill your bag, but I've made it work, so we're going to go with that. And then I'm going to start adding in my special decoration. So find your front. So there's my back, which is towards me, and this is my front. So I'm just going to start adding in some of the decorations, and I'm going to start by adding first. I think I'd like to add I'm going to show you how to add the fan. So you want to get your flour tape and just wrap this around the bottom of your fan. It's really easy, you just wrap it around and it will just self-stick itself. It's not actually sticky, but it does stick to itself. And then that means nothing's going to come into contact with your cake apart from the flour tape. So I'm just going to see where I want this to go, which is about there. You just push that right in to where you want it. So I'm going to go there. And then I'm just going to make up some more buttercream. So I've filled up with some more buttercream and I'm just going to pipe small amounts, just like 1, 2 and out. 1, 2. And that will just give me nice little blobs using my nozzle, which gives a nice effect. And same again on this side. And this will give me something to secure my decorations to. And same for in the top. I'm just going to put a few little blobs like that. So I'm going to go in with some strawberries. I'm just going to see. I'm going to put one there. And one in the top. And I'm also going to add in my lollies. These are really delicate, so be super careful. And I'm going to actually put one sort of upside down. And just sort of use the buttercream to secure it without denting your cake. Like that. I'm going to grab some of the little chocolates that we've made and just pop them in on the buttercream. I'm going to see where I want to put that one in a minute. And I've also got some artificial flowers that I'm going to add. So again, you want to, even if they're artificial or real, you want to just add your flour tape anyway. Then you know that they're food safe. So let's see where this one's going to go. I'm just going to pop that one right in the top there. That one I actually haven't even pressed in the cake, but that's fine. And then I've got some fresh eucalyptus, which I'm also going to add flour tape to. And just add that to my flour. I'm just going to see if I need this other piece in there. So I might just pop that one in there. Like so. And now I'm going to add another strawberry to the bottom with a little chocolate. Okay, so I've got another small pot I'm going to decant these into. This just gives me a bit of a better, easier to get into them, because there's some small ones in there that I'm trying to get to. And then I'm literally going to shake off that big one and then just pull these around the top and just let them go where they want. And then same put down on the bottom. Your sprinkles will run away. And yeah, I think I'm quite happy with the amount I've got on there. And then I'm just going to find where I want to add in any of my last little bits. I would like to add the lolly, so I'm going to pop that one. I'm going to pop that lolly just behind there, so I'm just going to get some more buttercream, just so it can have something to stick into. And then I'm just going to place it behind that strawberry. And then I also have my range of toppers that I'm going to add into the top of here. So you just want to find where you want it to go exactly. I'm just going to pop it in there. And there you have your beautifully decorated cake using all my tips and tricks along the way. I hope you found my video tutorial useful and are going to now start creating beautiful cakes like this. So if you've got any further questions, please contact me at sarah@sarahscakecompany.co.uk and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, keep enjoying these videos and I look forward to sharing more with you. Thank you.